It also strikes me, gang, that for the first time at one of these, we heard a challenger say into the camera about his opponent, the incumbent president, if he loses, he's going to go. He can't stay in power. Vast reason to say that. Just a first in our history, Rachel.
Yeah, the first time that you've ever had to give the American people a reason to imagine a future where the voters decide the outcome of an election, not a strong man who says he'll refuse to go because any election that doesn't reinstate him in power is by definition illegitimate. I mean, I didn't have the night that I expected to have as a person who's involved in this coverage. I spent the last few days and weeks and certainly many hours in the last 24 preparing my knowledge base so that we could do some, sober, rapid fire fact-checking on what both candidates said from the stage. We'll do that. That will happen in days ahead, and we'll do some of that tonight. But what happened on that debate stage was unlike anything that has ever happened on a presidential debate stage ever before. The clear choice that the American people have to make doesn't much feel like a choice between Biden and Trump. It feels like a choice between a type of civic, normal politics where there are debates which have rules, where people on both sides may talk over each other a little bit, but at least they are participating in the same process. And we ultimately decide which one of them we want to be the leader. Or we have what we have seen tonight and what this incumbent president is promising, which is a monstrous, unintelligible display of logorrhea, which has absolutely nothing to do with civic discourse, with debate, or even with the integrity of the contest they're about to approach. The fact that they ended this by him saying that the election doesn't matter to him, that ballots, the 80 million ballots will overwhelm the system. You know it. The system will be overwhelmed. Therefore, the ballots shouldn't be counted. He is not participating in a re-election campaign. He is arguing that he should stay in office and the election should be negated. He treated the debate that way with a monstrous, just cavalcade of increasingly wild and obscene lies, including lying about the vice president's dead son in Iraq as a way of trying to score points on it while that part of the debate arrived. There's something beyond fact-checking that needs to happen here. This is the sort of thing that shouldn't happen. This sort of debate shouldn't happen in a democracy, not one in which we decide, in which we think that we choose between candidates based on them proposing competing sides of an argument. This is not the night I expected.
Yeah, look,